Everybody's got an opinion on the Apple Vision Pro, but it's not until you use it that you can really understand the experience it offers. So here's feedback from people who've tried it.
Once you get it going, the most impressive thing about this headset, the most impressive thing, is the eye tracking. I'm not even kidding. This eye tracking is sick. So basically, the eye tracking in this headset, as it looks at your eyes and keeps track of where your eyes move around, is the closest thing that I've experienced to like magic. Like I normally don't call tech things sort of magical or surreal like this, but this was, even for a pre-release product, kind of unbelievable how well it does.
The digital crown is essentially your home button, and you have all of your apps on the home screen, and you just look at whatever you want, and then you pinch to select. If you're scrolling through photos or a Safari, you basically pinch and then scroll.
Unlike other VR headsets, there are no controllers, so your eyes are your cursor, and your fingers are like the mouse buttons. To select things, you just pinch like this, and then to scroll, you move it in different directions.
Look at anything, focus on it, and then use tiny pinches and pulls to be able to interact with the display. And it was lazy in a good way. Like I was able to rest my hand on my leg and just lazily pinch with my fingers and not have to lift my hand, which was great because I feel like if I'm sitting down using this headset, I'm not going to want to do all of this.
It's so intuitive. And it was something that I thought was going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but pretty soon I was just going around the whole interface so easily. It was just really good.
We use our hand gestures. Most of it is literally to select things, you just pinch, but you don't have to like deliberately pinch in a specific spot in front of your face. I was like chilling on this couch. I was pinching down low. I was pinching up high. I was pinching left. I was pinching right. I didn't want to think about it to see if it worked. And the UI and interface and how it communicates is so good.
I'm somebody who like has my hands together when I'm sitting down. It did get confused a little bit. And also when I was kind of swiping across, there were a couple of times, but this is like pre-production, and you know, I'm sure this is going to be getting better.
And I even heard that Apple's considering the accessibility side of things. So if you happen to have like a really shaky hand, or for whatever reason, you don't really have the ability to use your hands for this, you'll be able to stare at a section and that'll kind of work as your click. I heard that's going to be available. So if you can't really use your hands well, there's still going to be options for you.
Your eyes are tracked perfectly, and everything you look at, not even head movement, just moving your eyes, you're able to control what you're seeing in front of you. And when there's apps in front of you, whatever you're looking at kind of highlights whatever you look up and down and interacting with is connected to your eye movement, which is just mind-blowing. The eye tracking in itself is so unique. I've never experienced anything like it. And I think that's what makes this stand out so much, the fact that you don't need to use controllers or objects in your hands to operate and use this.
There was no haptics, of course, because you don't have controllers. You're just doing everything with your hands in the air. There's no way to have any sort of haptic feedback. There was a demo that I did where like I stuck my hand out, a wall on the other side of the room opened up and a dinosaur was back there and a butterfly flew out. I held out my hand and the butterfly flew up and landed on my finger. It could track and see all of that information, and the volumetric, all the computation to make that happen was amazing. But when the butterfly landed and I didn't feel anything, there was that moment of like, oh right, this is a VR headset.
The clarity of, say, a Safari tab, you're reading an article, is so good. The words are super crisp.
The clarity and the fidelity of this headset is unlike anything you've seen before. They talk about 23 million pixels, 4K resolution each eye. You have never seen anything as clean as this in your eyes.
All of its sort of vision, all of its rendering power isn't wasted on things that don't need to be super sharp and clear. It figures out where you're looking and makes sure that area is super sharp and clear. So when I was looking at some of the people that were in the room helping with the demo, when I'd quickly look to them, they were kind of blurry for a second, and then they got super clear and sharp and detailed. And that's foveation in effect. It wasn't fast enough for me not to notice it, but generally speaking, everything is really responsive.
It's more than 4K per eye, and it's very crisp. The one thing that I did notice is initially we saw some panoramas that were shot on the iPhone. Now, although the iPhone shoots great panoramas, they were blown up quite a bit. So I was initially thinking, is it the resolution of the panoramas or is it the Vision Pro? But it was the resolution of the panoramas. As soon as I started seeing some of the environments and some of the different content that was on there, it was so crisp and clear, and especially the user interface, all the icons and everything, super crisp.
And for you 4-eyes out there, I wear glasses a ton. They've partnered with Zeiss, where you can make custom lenses for inside the headset.
Watching movies is a great experience. So I went into like the cinema mode, I played Avatar, and dear Lord, Avatar was in proper 3D. It felt like watching Avatar 3D in the theaters, and it was great. Oh my God, it was absolutely fantastic.
Watching content in there, I knew that the ability to watch content existed on these headsets before. I've done it, I've seen Netflix and YouTube on like different VR headsets, and it's cool. It's possible to watch those and it's fine. But with this headset, I think I'd spend more time doing that than I would any other headset that I've tried before. It's actually a really good experience, and you can control how big that video is. So if you want to make it really large, you can have a gigantic display in front of you. But if you want to do it in a cinema mode where it blacks out everything and makes it feel like it's in a theater, they've worked it out where it feels like you're in a theater, and it's a really good experience.
I think that the vision could be a little bit further, that you're not only looking at a 16:9 window, but actually are inside of the content. But I think with time and more developers hopping on board, we will get there.
I didn't expect the audio to be so crisp. And Apple's put a lot of thought into this, where they're not just trying to send audio into your ears, they factor in where you are, they deliver the sound in a way where it meshes with your real world. So it's not this closed off experience. And not to mention, the sound is spatial audio. The audio sounds surprisingly good.
The sound was really good. I was surprised by that. It was really full and quite spatial. It felt like there are speakers in the room and not on the headset.
And the spatial audio is amazing. You can turn your head and it censors the sound, so it's coming from here. If I turn my head, then it's coming from here. And there's no, like, I didn't have to put earbuds in or anything like that. And the sound was quite loud. It was like really seamless. It just sort of was there where it should be. I don't know how loud it would be to the people around me, but it sounded great.
While you are immersed, if a person comes near you, then it is going to slowly fade and you'll be able to see them. Currently is only going to be working with humans, but I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what about pets, cats, dogs, if they come towards you? Well, for the production model, that might be the case. Let's see.
If you've tried other VR headsets, often you only see the world around you in like black and white or low res. Well, I've only really tried the Meta Quest and the Quest 2. So I was like, oh, this is pretty good. So I was looking at the two Apple people next to me with the headset on, and it was like legit. I was holding up my hands and I was like, everything looks pretty like high resolution.
And you lift up your hands, you can actually see your hands. There's a little bit of a slightly rough outline, but I was able to do that and reach out and interact with things. Also, if I look at somebody next to me, I could see them ghostly appear into view with this little halo, and they would materialize through the VR like in a mist. Now, that's something I've never seen before.
So you can actually have pass-through and you can see the environment around you, which is absolutely fine. But if you turn the digital crown, you can actually blank everything else out. So it's almost like you're in a different place. And this is perfect if, say, for example, you're in a plane or something and you don't want to really see much of your surroundings.
For the first 15 minutes of the demo, I couldn't believe how comfortable it was. Far cozier than the Meta Quest Pro or the Quest 2. But it's still a lot of tech on your face. By the end of the demo, the top of my nose and forehead started to feel the weight. Here's a photo of me when I took it off.
This is pretty heavy. This is a pretty heavy VR headset. Kind of the same way that AirPods Max, the Apple's metal headphones, are heavier than most plastic headphones. There's a reason why most other VR headsets are just plastic. It's not because that's cheap. It's because it's lightweight. It's fatiguing to have a heavy thing on your head. And this is a headset made of metal and glass.
I did feel the weight of the headset. Maybe, after 35 minutes or so, I started to feel a little bit of the weight of it pressing on my sort of cheekbones. But it wasn't, I could certainly wear it for quite a long time.
Because if I'm going to be honest, when I'm watching a movie, I want to chill. I don't know with the weight that it currently is, if I want something on my face for that long.
The headset itself, I will say, it is a little over 1 pound. It did start feeling a little heavy on my face over time. This is not a super light headset, but you will feel the weight, and over time I did. They told me to, hey, adjust the head strap on top, get a little tighter to distribute the weight better. that did help, but I got experience it maybe for like 30, 40 minutes. I don't know if I could really comfortably watch a 2-hour movie in it yet. I'm just not sure if I can do that or not.
If I could feel that the headset was getting warm on my face, I had a 30-minute session, and in that time period it did not get warm on my face, but I could feel that it heated up a little bit, and then the fans kicked in and they blew some fresh cold air in my face. Not a huge amount, but a really nice breeze, and I like that.
There's also a virtual keyboard, so you can look at the different keys and tap like this, or you could actually type as well, but this is something I didn't get to test. The good news is that you can actually connect a Magic Keyboard and trackpad if you wanted. So the way I kind of see this is, if you're out, and because this is running with the M2 chip, you could have things like Microsoft Word, Excel, and things like that, and you wouldn't have to carry your laptop with you, which would be pretty cool.
What's nice is that if you have your regular Mac with you as well, it works in tandem with the Vision Pro. So you can take the screen that's on your Mac, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, and throw it onto the Vision Pro. Why would you want to do something like that? Well, you still get all of the power of your Mac machine. So whether that's a crazy Mac Pro or some other device, you get all of that power and the applications on that Mac at your fingertips. So you can use like Final Cut Pro or Photoshop or any crazy app that you might want to that's only accessible on the Mac. Just throw it on your Vision Pro. I had iMessage open and there were photos in the message. I grabbed the photo, opened it up on the side, enlarged it. It was wild.
Apple Immersive Video.
I was sitting on the couch, right, this whole time. They sat me behind the basket or the basketball hoop at an NBA game. And then they sat me behind the goal of a football or soccer game. And then they sat me like on the pitch, not in the stands, on the pitch of a baseball field. These seats, these angles, you usually don't get to view something like this from these angles unless you pay a lot of money, right? Like it was like a courtside seat experience. And why this blew my mind is because it did genuinely feel really realistic, because it also had that 3D depth. So I was like watching the basketball players like bounce the ball, and the ball looked spherical. It looked real.
Swimming with sharks. And when you talk about unique experiences that make you feel something, Apple Immersive Video makes you feel something.
They showed sports having this crazy angle that you wouldn't be able to experience like at all. But it's wild because it's even closer than you could possibly be during one of those games. I saw on a basketball court, a soccer field. It looked like you were on the court with them. It's wild. If this is the basketball court, you're standing like right here, just watching everything. Everybody dunking in the hoop. It's wild.
This 8K video, 360 video where they shot different things like Alicia Keys singing in a private concert. I felt like she was in front of me singing. Somebody was climbing a mountain and I was like, okay, that's kind of trippy. I was in the city. Different things like that were just completely just very immersive, and I felt I was there.
I can personally say from my demo, hell yes, I would pay to watch an NBA game courtside in the VR headset.
Like it just felt like kind of you're just floating, overlooking this action or in the action, and it's all shot in 8K, it's 3D. Like it was so hyper real and immersive that I actually started to feel like slightly emotional. Like I couldn't believe it. It was just the weirdest thing because it just made me suddenly believe. It's like, wow, you really could sit on your couch and be transported to somewhere else and it'd be almost believable or better than real.
One thing that a lot of people talk about is motion sickness. I did not have any motion sickness. It was a very comfortable experience. There is very little lag. It's something like 12 milliseconds, which means everything is very, very smooth.
I didn't get any sense of motion sickness, and I use the PSVR, the PlayStation VR 2, and I play a game for an hour and then I feel sick and then I sit on the couch and feel like I'm gonna throw up for 2 hours after that. So that's no fun. There are ways of minimizing that, but with this, I didn't have any problems. I didn't feel motion sickness at all. I felt quite comfortable in that space.
But going back and forth between AR and VR did make me feel a little bit queasy by the end of the demo. It wasn't like a puke situation, but you know, just, eh.
Vision Pro can map your face and create a persona, a digital persona of you, and then it'll use the sensors built in to kind of see how your mouth is moving and how your eyes are moving to make your persona look like you when you're in a FaceTime call while using the headset. The thing is, you can kind of tell that the eyes move and the mouth moves, but the rest of the face doesn't really have the same natural human movement, so you're in the kind of uncanny valley.
I didn't feel like it was this uncanny valley where you have these dead eyes. Everything from like subtle smiles, subtle face motions, the texture of her skin, you could kind of see like, you know, like a little bit of freckles, and the way her eyes move, like she was looking at me and I'm like, damn, I've never seen a better digital avatar representation ever in any platform.
So I had a FaceTime call with someone who also had the Vision Pro on. Everything that their face was doing, it showed up well, which is wild considering it's living on your head like this. It looked like a digital but very realistic version of yourself.
And not gonna lie, in my head, I did question if that person was in fact real. It was a little robotic-like, a little creepy, and it's almost scary to think about how it will look like if it gets even better, which I'm sure it will. So not really sure how I feel about it, but it's there if you wanna use it.
I get what they're going for, some realism. It's just not enough realism, so it's kind of strange.
Now, the power pack is probably the most controversial point of the Vision Pro. It is separate, connected by a cable, and they expect you to keep it in your pocket or a belt loop or what have you. The power pack only has a 2-hour battery life right now, so you'll probably have to keep this plugged in for extended use. Yeah, this is definitely a V1.
They actually had the battery pack connected for me, so that meant that there's a cable that ran from the back around sort of your back of your ear into this little metallic kind of power pack. And you can put that in a pocket. It's not very big. It's probably, this is an iPhone Max. It's a little smaller than that and a bit chunkier, but it's kind of like just your kind of portable battery pack size.
There's a dedicated button on the device for taking photos and videos, and there's only 2 buttons on it.
The ability to take photos and videos with the headset on. I don't know if I'm going to like just walk around the home and do it, but now that I saw what they look like, the 3D nature, the immersive nature, it's pretty compelling, especially if you have pets or kids or things of that nature. It's amazing. They didn't tell me the resolution of what the actual picture or video was, but it was more like a square size, and it faded off to the edges. But that you could see multiple layers of depth, and it looked incredible.
It's a 3D photo of a birthday scene, and when you pull this up, you actually feel like there's some sort of modeled clay figures of people right in front of you. It feels like you can just reach out and interact with them. And then when you move over to the video portion, it puts you right in the scene. So it seems like you can speak to these people because you can hear them. They should be able to hear you. Obviously they can't, but it's kind of uncanny and maybe even a little dystopian to some people.
It was so awesome. Like, I was sitting here, and then there was a little family, and they were blowing out birthday candles, and when the kids all like reached in to blow out the candles, like the smoke just like went into my face, and I almost expected to smell it because it felt so realistic.
You use the camera to record memories, the headset to record memories. It's like a 3D memory, and it's like a spatial recording. And there was a birthday, and again, so it was in 3D, but 3D that makes sense to your eyes. And the detail, again, was incredible. So it's just like a kid's birthday or some people sitting out back at a barbecue, and everything from the way the sound worked to the 3D to the actual depth of detail. Like capturing moments like that, I've never seen a better way of conveying a memory.
Now, I am super grateful to have experienced it, and just with my minimal time using it, I just need more time with it.
The hype is real. The hype is real.
Having seen this in person with my real eyes, I don't know, like, this is the beginning.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the technology is there. The responsiveness and the smoothness, it's there. And it can get better, but at the same time, we've never seen anything like this. I've never experienced anything like this. My mind is blown.
This was pretty cool. It was a glimpse into the future. One of the Apple representatives, when I put on the headset and I was in, they were like, welcome, Sarah, to spatial computing. And I was like, am I in a movie right now? What's going on?
I am shocked that I am this impressed I'm really impressed with what they actually showed, how it was implemented, the fact that things work. My biggest thing, again, gestures. It worked really well. Is it for everyone? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when it launches, but Apple is going to shake up the whole industry because this is not like the iPhone to me. I think this is bigger, but also might take some time, but the Apple Vision Pro is legit.
Some of the parts of this headset that I tried are actually the best I have ever seen in any VR headset by a mile, specifically the eye tracking and the hand tracking.
I'll tell you right now, this video might sound like someone who's a fanboy. This video might sound like someone who was injected with drugs to talk like this. I can tell you, I have not been compromised in any way. I mean, it's always an amazing time when Apple releases a new product, but the Apple Vision Pro is the truth. The technology is there. My mind is blown. I've never experienced anything like it, and this is one of those products that you have to experience for yourself for you to believe.
I'm not joking, I'm so eager to try this out for myself, particularly the virtual desktop. What feature stands out most to you? Tell me in the comments and hit the like button. Cheers.